Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, J City Reviews. Thanks for stopping by today. We have a neat little automatic dress watch that we're going to be looking at from Bulova. And what makes this watch special is that it's an open heart. So you can see that movement working there every time you look down and check the time. Really cool little piece. It's on loan to the channel by my friend Average Joe at Average Joe Watch Reviews, so thanks to him. But without further ado, do me a favor and like the video and subscribe if you're not subscribed, and let's get into this review.
Well, here it is. This is a beautiful dress watch from Bulova. It's from their Aerojet line of watches. They have multiple designs and styles, but all of the Aerojet models have those crosshairs on the dial, so that's what makes them special and unique. Not quite sure where that came from, but nonetheless, that is there on all of the Aerojet watches from Bulova. This is the model 98A187. We're going to just jump right in and get into the specs and features of this watch. The movement is a Miyota. I believe it's an 8215 from Miyota, so we'll talk a little bit more about some of the specs with that movement. It is a domed mineral crystal on this watch, slightly domed, and also the case material is stainless steel. Case diameter is 41 millimeters. Case thickness, as I measured it, was just a little bit over 11.5 millimeters. Lug to lug distance is 48.5, and lug width is 20 millimeters. And band material is a genuine leather with crocodile look to it. And the water resistance is 30 meters. And there is the weight as well on the screen. About the movement from Miyota, had to look this up about that 8215 movement. It's a 21 joule movement, which is written on the rotor back here. And you can see Miyota Company Japan as well written on the rotor. But as far as I can tell, it's an 8215, which has a power reserve of 40 hours. It is hand winding as well. It's not a hacking movement. It beats at 21,600 vibrations per hour. And there is, as you can see with this open case back, a little bit of decoration on the back with, I guess, some Geneva stripes there in that center portion, but pretty much a plain movement. The rotor is nothing to write home about, but it's definitely a entry-level movement from Miyota, but one that has stood the test of time and been used in a multitude of different watches. Talk about the design and durability of this piece. The case is somewhat unique. You can see that it's pretty much all polished, but as you look here, there's kind of two sections to the case. There's the upper section where the lugs protrude out of, and then there's this bottom portion that's kind of concaved and curved in, as you can see, and so that gives the case somewhat of a unique design and shape. I don't know if I've ever seen lugs like that, where it just comes kind of from the top portion of the case, and those lugs kind of shoot downward quite sharply from that top portion. Doesn't look odd or weird, but something that I don't think I've seen before. Most times the lugs are connected to the full case. Just something that I took note of, but it's somewhat unique, completely polished, and of course you get that nice open case back and a screw down case back as well. And what I like about this case back is that it's very, very flat. Even though it's open and you can see the movement, it's a very flat, low profile. Some of those open case backs kind of protrude quite a bit, but not this one, so that is nice to see. This watch wears very flat on your wrist. Of course, the crystal, as we mentioned, is a mineral crystal. You do get some distortion as you move it around. It is slightly domed and protrudes from the case ever so slightly, and you can see that the edge follows the bevel of the bezel and flows really nicely downward there to create that really domed look to it. The crown is, of course, at a very unique position at 2 o'clock. You can see that it is a signed crown, and it is not screw down, but as it sits there, you can wind the movement in that position. And it's a simple push-pull, so there's only one position because there's no date function here, and so that first position controls the time. And as you can see, again, this is a non-hacking movement. I would have liked to seen hacking in this movement, but that's okay. It's not a deal breaker for me, I don't think. I do have a complaint about the crown. It's not necessarily the position of the crown, but just the size of it, how it is kind of in there a little bit. It's a little bit hard to use, to pull on and to manipulate. You really have to get your fingernail underneath to pop it out, and even winding it is a little bit difficult because it's just so small. Now again, I don't have a problem with the position there at 2 o'clock, but for me it's kind of small. As you can see, it's got this rose gold color to it, which matches the indices and the hands on the dial. They say it's rose gold. To me, it kind of looks like a copper color. Is there a difference between copper and rose gold? I'm not quite sure, but that brings us to talk about the dial. First thing I notice is that this dial is gray. You don't see a lot of gray dialed watches, but this one has a nice gray color to it, and I think it's unique in that sense, and definitely doesn't look bad. You got those red crosshairs in the middle. You've got the applied indices, which are not just straight lines. They actually have a little bit of a slope to them. They're a little bit wider toward the outside of the bezel, and they kind of slope in ever so slightly toward the middle of the dial, but very nice applied indices. And then, of course, the hands are matching the color of the indices, which is nice. And then the really coolest feature of this watch is that open heart function that you can see there. And you can see all the way through. You can see my finger in the back because of the open case back. And it's just really a cool thing to be able to look down at your watch and see the balance wheel moving there. Very, very cool. I've never had a watch with open heart, so it's really a cool little feature. Now there's lume on this watch, believe it or not. If you look around the outside of the dial, you see these little dots here. Those are lumed. I'm not sure why Bulova decided to do that, because there's no lume on the hands at all, so it's not going to help you tell the time. Maybe it's just something for ambiance. If it's dark out, you can see those glow. I'm not quite sure, but let's check it out real quick. I'll shut the lights off and we'll check out those lumed dots. Well, there you go. You can get a little glimpse of the lume dots. They're nothing special. Who knows really why they're there, but they're there nonetheless, and they're already fading pretty quickly. Well, let's talk about the band, the strap, real quick. It's a genuine leather, and you can see the word Bulova there as well. It's got the fake crocodile look to it. Overall, it seems like a quality leather strap. My only gripe is that I don't think they put enough holes for adjustment. I'm on the very last one and it's a little loose. I think there's 8 of them. I would have liked to seen a few more of those. I do like the buckle on this watch. I like the shape of it. I think it looks really nice on the wrist. Just that unique shape to this buckle. Let's talk about price as we close out this video and before I give my final verdict. The MSRP on this piece is over $400, but of course you can find this watch for a lot cheaper than that. I've found it on Amazon for under $200, somewhere around $192 I think it was. So I'll leave some links down below to Amazon and eBay, but definitely a budget automatic open heart piece that is pretty cool, and I don't think $200 is too much for this watch. Now I noticed there's quite a few similarities to the Orient Bambino that I recently reviewed, which is also on loan from Average Joe. So stay tuned for a future video. We're gonna compare these two little dress watches and see them side by side. So stay tuned for that. But without further ado, we're gonna shut down this video. I've already gone too long, so I'm gonna get back in front of the camera and share my final thoughts.
Well, there you have it. That's my review of this cool little Bulova automatic open heart dress watch. There's a lot that I like about this piece. First and foremost, it's that open heart design where every time you look down at your wrist to check the time, you can take a little peek inside the movement and see the balance wheel going back and forth there and see that little jewel in the center. That's a really cool feature that I've never really experienced before until borrowing this watch. I also like the open case back. I like those rose gold indices and hands that you get here, and even the gray dial has kind of grown on me as well. You don't find a lot of gray dial watches. Now, as you watch the review, you heard I do have a few gripes. I think that crown is a little small, a little bit hard to use in my opinion. Also, I wish the movement was hacking. That's a small complaint. And then also, of course, every time you review a watch, you wish you could see sapphire crystal, and I think Bulova could have put that in with a watch at the close to $200 range like this one is. So I would have liked to see sapphire crystal, of course. But overall, I don't really have a lot of complaints, and I think this is a really cool piece that I hope you'll check out and purchase if you like it. Thanks again to Average Joe for lending it in, and I want to know what your thoughts are about this little dress watch from Bulova. Do you like open heart watches like this one? What are your thoughts on that? And just let me know what you think about this watch in general. If you liked the video, please let me know by giving it a like, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. I'd really appreciate that. Well, that's it for today. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you next time here on J City Reviews.